Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers. Welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Thursday, March 12th. We are here live. Phone lines are open. It's time for a little technology and efficiency. Most of the crew here is here so far. We've got Joel. I think Henry might be on the line. John is supposed to be joining us. I don't see him yet. Let's get started. We've got a lot to talk about today. Joel, Henry, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, we're going to do something a little different today. We are going to dedicate the show to discussing Lobster Gate.
Lobster Gate.
You haven't?
Oh, the government, the government spent. I saw a little bit of it. I didn't dig into it.
I didn't see anything of this, so.
Okay, so let me tell you. So here's the thing. You know, I've said this for a long time. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I've been on it forever, decades and decades, long before people even knew what social media was. I love it for certain things. I hate it for so many other reasons. I've been more active again. We need to do some growing. It's been a pretty rough 3 years with the economy and trucking, and so we need to market. And really, where is the only place left to market these days? I mean,
you're right. Social media is where it's at.
Where can you market really other than social media that you're going to get your money's worth? Now, if you're a local business, you may have some other options. But if you're, nationwide and small, which is what we are, we're trying to reach a small group of people that are spread out over the entire country. Social media is your only option. So I've been spending a lot of time just learning how to market better on social media. We just got to get people in the funnel. So I'm spending more time on social media. So Henry, I'll catch you up to speed. There was a report that came out, and it sounds, when you first read it, I get why people lost their mind. It's an article about how Pete Hegseth and the Department of War spent millions and millions of dollars buying steak and lobster for the troops. Doesn't that sounds kind of bad, doesn't it? When you and they give the number.
I heard that. Okay, I heard a very corner of this.
People are losing their mind over this. It's on the mainstream news. Everybody's debating it. Oh my, well, first off, if you just do the math, it's not that much. When you think of all the troops, the math is not that big of a deal. But here's the real issue here. This is a long-standing tradition. This isn't something new. This isn't something Pete Hegseth thought up to waste a bunch of money. This goes back to the day when we had ships that had sails. It was a tradition back then when the sailors came back from a long journey, they ate surf and turf. They had a really, really good meal because they had been out on the ship not eating well. Our military picked it up, primarily Navy. It's a really big tradition in the Navy. And when they come back from long deployments or sometimes on the ship, they would get a really special meal. They do more of it during wartime because it's good for the morale. You could say you don't like it, but to blame it on the administration that's in there now is just really ignorant. And
I was there.
Somebody posted.
I couldn't think of anybody better to spend this kind of money on than the people that are serving our country. Anybody that has a problem with this, they have rots for brains. I mean, these guys are putting their lives on the line, and we can't buy them a friggin' lobster and a steak. Bullshit. And these people deserve that and 100 times more.
Exactly. And here's the thing: I can promise you, I was in the military. This is a tradition. When you get it, you're not going to be overly impressed. This is not a steak from Ruth's Chris. This isn't lobster, from a 5-star restaurant. This is kind of a thin, somewhat tough steak. It's not all that great. The lobster is pretty poor quality, and it's frozen tails. They're not shipping in live lobsters. It's a real, but the troops love
They
it.
should be.
Yeah, exactly. They should up the
Yeah.
quality. Let's make it better. The troops love it, though.
Yeah.
It's good for their morale. Everybody enjoys it. And the left, it's the left again. They've gone out of their mind over this. And one of them actually, one of the commentators actually claimed on one of the news shows that Pete Hegseth didn't do this for the troops. He did it for himself.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you kidding me? First off, Pete's not eating that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he would with the troops, but he can go out and buy his own steak and lobster
Sure.
if he wants it. And what the hell is he going to do with, hundreds of thousands of pounds of steak and lobster? It went to the troops. It's always gone to the troops. This tradition has been around forever.
That's
Kevin, this reminds me of a post
whose administration it is. Those guys deserve that. This is just plain ignorance. It's stupidity. It's dumb. I just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
So, Kevin, this reminds me of a post I saw the other day, and I went to respond to it 3 times and didn't, because it was one of them ones where I figured it would be one of them arguments.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was upset about the taxes that he pays in and yada, 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 yada. And nothing he can do about it. And our country's wasting its money on ballrooms and this and that and the other. And for one, that is, the ballroom isn't being paid with tax dollars. But forgetting all that, even if it was, there is always something you can do about it. If you don't like the taxes you can pay in this country, you have all the power in the world to do something. You can move to another country.
Yeah. Or look, if you really want to, we set up the system. Just quit your job and go on welfare anyway. You'll be fine. You have choices.
Well, you can join the military and eat steak and lobster, right?
There you go. I might have to go back to that post with that one.
So,
Jesus Christ.
So,
wow.
Based on what we do on this show, and based on what's going on in the world with fuel prices right now, shouldn't we be viral?
We should.
Did you see the post I put up?
Should.
I put it up on X and
Did
Facebook.
something happen to fuel prices?
I shared that.
Did you? Yeah. How'd you like the tone on that one?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Diesel is killing you right now, and you know what? You did this to yourself. Boy,
not wrong.
boy, did people lose their mind over that one. I was called mean and all. Yeah. I thought that was.
Yeah, I shared it and I wrote a little thing on it and I said, Kevin's exactly right on this one. And somebody said, "Oh, I can tell you what they're going to say. Buy a Volvo and slow down and something else." I said, "Hey, that's a hell of a good plan."
That was the only thing I thought was wrong.
Come on,
that's a great start. Yeah.
And besides, everybody knows you should buy a Freightliner with a Detroit. Come on.
That's right.
Wait a minute.
Hey guys, I got to check in here real quick. I'll be gone for like 2 minutes and I'll be back on.
Hurry back. All right.
All right.
I'll cover this and then we'll come back to that when Joel comes back. Here's something else I find just sad. Henry, did you see where now they're worried about a fertilizer crisis?
Yeah.
And I wonder if people manage to put this together. Why does going to war create a fertilizer crisis?
I'm guessing for whatever they could use for explosives, but I don't think they're really.
Well, I'm not sure if it has something to do with maybe we ship a lot of fertilizer through the Straits of Hormuz, and I don't know. But here's what I do know. Do you know where all of our current fertilizers came from? Because the stuff we use on our fields now, we didn't use 100 years ago.
No.
It wasn't that long ago where all farming was organic. Organic was the norm. That's just how farming used to work. We didn't use a bunch of chemicals. They didn't exist. All of our...
There was quite a bit of manure.
Exactly. It was all natural. Polyface Farms, Joel Salatin, who's become a friend of mine. I spoke with him last year. I'll be speaking with him again this summer. That's what he does. Polyface Farms. He's been doing it for his whole life. They have about 100 acres. They produce tens of thousands of pounds of food: chicken, eggs, pigs, beef. The only thing they bring into the farm, the only thing is a little bit of supplemental feed for the chickens in the wintertime. Other than that, that 100 acres produces everything they need to produce all that food. It is completely regenerative. And that's the way farming used to be. But after World War II, we had a huge stockpile of chemicals, and we didn't know what to do with them. And they were like mustard gas. They were chemicals to kill people or to produce bombs, or we had this huge stockpile. We didn't know what to do with it. Somebody figured out how to make fertilizer out of it.
Well, and on top of that, during the war effort, they really worked hard towards higher yields and
absolutely
longer shelf life and all that.
Right.
Which sort of makes sense.
Except for the fact
in a war.
Yeah. Except for the fact that it became the norm and we still haven't stopped. It is crazy when you look at some of our crops today, how close together they can grow corn. That never used to be possible.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't cram in, that much corn in that small of a space, and how much it produces. That's all chemical. You can't do any of that naturally.
I'm back, guys.
Good.
And I get it during a war because most everybody's allergic to lead. So
yeah. Joel, we just took a little side trip. We're going to go back to the fuel mileage thing on the fact that
we took a side trip.
A little bit. The fact
I'll
that
do that, I just can't imagine.
I'm wondering if anybody's putting together the two things that we went to war and now we have a fertilizer crisis.
Well, that's all petrochemical based, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's
for sure.
And what is that going to do to DEF?
Don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because that's used in fertilizers.
I'll ask my guys at BASF that question.
I'd love to hear that.
World's biggest producer, so they should know.
They should know. If anybody's going to know, they should know. I'd love to hear their thoughts. Is there any connection there or not? Because I'm not sure.
I'll find out
how long this is going to go on. Hey, back to the fuel mileage thing. You guys were arguing Volvo and Freightliner. You got to throw International back into that mix. Have you seen Steve Krohn's new truck so far?
Yeah.
12.3 on the last 30 days.
That's right up there for sure.
Is.
There's no doubt.
Sure is. Not broken in yet.
What that really speaks to me is that, of course, that's at a very downsped powertrain.
Yep.
And it's a very modern downsped powertrain. And for all the naysayers about the low RPM and all that shit's bullshit and it don't work, it absolutely works. And right there's your proof that it works. So everybody, and we had talked about this before. We said everybody's going to start to transition towards downsped powertrains.
Yes. Here's
International's version of a downsped powertrain. They've done an excellent job with this powertrain, and the proof's in the pudding. And as everybody comes out with newer versions, that number is going to continue to push higher and higher. And right now, International has the most modern version of it out. I am sure Freightliner's got stuff in the works. Volvo's got stuff in the works. And this is great for the industry and especially for owner-operators that embrace the technology. It's just going to continue to get better. And let me throw something else out there. Despite all the friggin' nonsense you hear about, it's nothing but a big emissions problem. That's complete, utter bullshit.
This is these engines
last much longer.
Right.
Well, and listen, and here is my point. What did Steve Crone used to run in the past? The 60 Series Detroit.
Yes.
Isn't his new truck just smashing the shit out of what that 60 Series would do?
Yes.
And that was a highly modified 60 Series. So, you know, it's this downsped stuff is for real, and it's going to continue to improve as manufacturers embrace it and refine the technology. It's going to get better and better and better. And, you know, more power to Steve. I am sure that Henry's going to see some new stuff coming from Detroit that's going to challenge that number. Volvo's got some stuff on the horizon that will challenge that number, and it's good for everybody.
Here was the other.
Well, yeah, you know, when you say about that, the Series 60, I always refer to that. It was a really great engine. That is the key word. It was
right.
In its day.
It was a great engine.
NTC Cummins was a really great engine.
Yes.
Yep.
It was.
Well, hell, a 671 Detroit was a great engine in its time.
That's correct.
You know, so
yeah.
Definitely keep up with the times, and these engines are great. And Detroit makes a good one. Navistar International makes a good one now. Volvo makes a good one. I suspect PACCAR is going to start to come around to more downsped technology. I think everybody has to embrace it at this point because it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, this works. The concept works, and all the OEMs know that now.
And one of two things needs to happen.
I'm just really surprised, Joe, you didn't go back as far as Waukesha or Buda.
There you go.
Henry, we're not going back in time on engines. Just stop it. You'll be talking about steam engines again. I know it.
Coming.
Now, here's
the Niagara class on the New York Central Railroad.
There you go.
I'm so glad that International's back in the game, and I think they are. I think they're a very viable option. Now, we need to see what's going to happen to this engine after, 500,000 or 1 million miles or whatever. But I'm really confident they're back in the game this time. Took them a long time.
Yeah, that comes from a very good base design from the Swedes. They put this thing together, and it is a very good design. There are a few things that, personally, when I look at it, I think, I don't know if I agree with that or not. But hey, look, the numbers are what they are. It's putting up very big numbers. It will continue to put up big numbers. In Europe, it is a very reliable design, and this is a great option for people to look at. There's no doubt about it.
So the only thing I think we need now to round out our choices is PACCAR either needs to buy Cummins or Cummins needs to start building a truck. One of the two. Cummins is like the only.
PACCAR's not going to buy Cummins.
Cummins is like the only engine floating around out there without a platform.
Well, but the thing of it is, they've done an excellent job integrating and working with some manufacturers, and they do have a pretty decent integrated platform. Their next generation, I think, is going to be very competitive with everybody. I know you've seen some of the things they've done that kind of mimic the whole downsped thing that Volvo's done in terms of their rotating assembly and the geometry of the rotating assembly. They're going to be very competitive as well. And when you look at the run on less, I mean, that kind of shows you that they have a very competitive product right now. I don't think that there's a single manufacturer out there that doesn't have a competitive product. The only one, maybe PACCAR has a little more work to do, but they'll get there. They'll get there.
Yeah, it is good to see. One more thing I want, well, I'll probably have more than that. Phone lines are open, by the way. Jump in and join us, 855-950-3835. Are you guys following the SCOTUS broker liability case? It's being heard right now. Actually, they're about to decide on it, I think. Have you seen this one?
I haven't paid in-depth attention. I know a little bit about it, but not enough to really.
So here's the problem I have. Boy, I shouldn't have been shocked that I got so much pushback on this one, but I did. I feel like the lone wolf on this one. Almost nobody agrees with me. So here they are deciding again whether or not a broker can be held liable when a carrier gets into an accident for not properly vetting them. Well, here's the problem I have with this. I think the whole conversation is wrong. Here's the other thing that's dangerous. If they uphold that the broker is responsible, and the legal people I follow think that's going to be the case, this is not only going forward, they will now be able to be held liable for accidents that happened in the past.
Well, I don't agree. A step farther, if it goes to the broker, and I don't agree with that per se. Although, if I was a broker, I would probably vet my carriers somewhat because I wouldn't want to disappoint my customer. But where I was going with this is, what stops that from going all the way back to the shipper?
Well, and now we could come back to the shippers in a minute. I have so many problems with this. One, just the general big picture that we start holding people responsible for problems that they didn't create because it's the easy way out. This is the easy way out. We'll just blame the broker, make them liable for this. I am not saying brokers should not be vetting their carriers. They should. Here's the problem.
No.
How did we get to the point where it's next to impossible to vet a carrier, where we have carriers that have 127 companies under one umbrella? We know the fraud is rampant, and that started with the FMCSA. How did they ever get the authority in the first place?
That's what I was going to say.
Then we put a driver in from a state who can't speak English and never passed any kind of a real test to get his CDL. And we're going to hold the broker liable? Why aren't we holding the FMCSA and the states liable?
That's where I was going to go. Because the FMCSA, through their granting of authority and all, aren't they the one vetting?
Exactly. And they don't vet, which is the problem. Their system is so broken that it's hard to fathom how bad it is. And yet we'll just put it on the broker instead.
So here's, now I'm probably gonna differ from both you guys a little bit here. I think the broker does need to have some skin in the game. Now, I don't think you can pile it all onto them, but there should be some limited liability, because you know, Joel, as well as I do, there are brokers that they are knowingly going to throw this on any piece of crap carrier they can if they're 10 cents a mile cheaper.
Correct.
That's what they're going to do.
Correct. I get that.
You know what I mean?
But before,
and so there should be some limited liability involved there, because if there's no teeth here, that's what they're going to look for.
But here's
what's going to shop for that carrier.
But we have to fix the broken system
if they was vetting the carriers to begin with,
correct,
they wouldn't be there for the broker to use, Joel.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying that we should pile all liability, but there should be some layered liability, so everybody's got skin in the game here.
But
when there's an accident, should the broker be involved? Absolutely, they should. Should the carrier? Absolutely. Should the FMCSA? Yes. Everybody needs to have skin in the game, because if they don't, you're going to pile it all on a government agency, and we know how well government agencies work, especially when you have changes in administration.
Yeah, but how do you hold? How do you
one administration maybe way up here and way down here?
How do you hold somebody liable?
I'm going to parse your words a little bit, Joel.
Go ahead, Henry.
If it's an accident, that's not a problem. It's the crashes and the wrecks that are the problems. There isn't that many accidents.
Here, Joel, I am not disagreeing with you except in one point. We have to fix the broken system. It is too easy to cheat the system, and
I agree.
The brokers they're very tight margins, contrary to what everybody believes. It is a game of numbers. You have got to move a lot of freight to make a profit, and you got to move it fast.
I agree.
We can't hold up. So we got to fix the broken system first. Then we could talk about Everybody has some skin in the game. But well, here's a good example.
So
here's a good example.
Okay.
I just read an article. Amazon should have some of the best technology in the world. They got ripped off by a Chameleon carrier for
I saw that. Yes,
millions of dollars because the scam was so sophisticated with so many different carriers that Amazon couldn't catch it. Now, look, we're not talking about somebody who chose a carrier without vetting them to make a couple $100 extra bucks on a load. We're talking about Amazon who lost millions of dollars over this and they couldn't figure it out. That's a broken system.
Well, actually, Kevin, they did figure it out because they caught him.
Well, correct, but they caught him after millions of dollars. Now, how many accidents could have been caused by something like that?
So here's part of the problem. On one hand, we bitch about the government being involved. We don't want the government involved. We don't want them setting rules. We don't want this. We don't want that. Then on the other hand, we're going to ask that the government vet all these carriers and fix all these problems.
That's what the system is supposed to be.
To me, it doesn't work. It is. You're correct. It is supposed to be. You are 100% correct. But over the years, it has been defanged something fierce since deregulation. Now, am I for the type of regulation that we had, 1979 and before? No.
Well, that's
not the answer. But we do need, I agree with you, we need an overhaul of why do we have operating authority? You always ask this question. We should have operating authority in order to vet people and to avoid the bullshit that we're going through now.
Exactly.
That's how that should all be. It should be tied together.
No financial regulations, safety regulations. I am all for safety regulations. I'm all for stronger safety regulations, but you also have to enforce them.
Yes, we're in 100% agreement there. 100% agreement with that. We need stronger safety regulations, and I still think there needs to be skin in the game across the board.
Once the system is fixed, I agree.
I kind of think brokers do have skin in the game, Joel, because if they're picking carriers that don't get it done right and irritate their customer, the shipper.
The shipper and this receiver, they don't give a damn. As long as that goes in a trailer and it gets there, they could care less.
Joel, here's another problem, though. Let's say we have a better system. Let's say we actually get the FMCSA to fix their problems. They are vetting carriers better. We're not issuing, CDLs willy-nilly. But somewhere down the line, I'm a broker. I choose a carrier. Maybe it's even a carrier I have a great relationship with. They have an excellent safety record. And at the last minute, the driver, who could have a perfect record, gets in the truck drunk and kills somebody. The broker could now be held liable for that. There's no way I can control that as a broker.
And they shouldn't accept full liability. They shouldn't have full liability for the accident.
A case like that, there should be zero on the broker.
You're right. You're right. That should go on the carrier.
Right.
Somebody's drunk in a truck. That should ultimately, and especially if the broker shows that they've done their due diligence, they checked their safety record, as long as the broker went through all their steps, then they should be harmless in that instance. Now, if that broker's using a carrier that's got a shitty safety record and that happens, then what? Should that broker be held partially liable for that? You bet your ass they should.
How about this? And we've seen these nuclear verdicts. Werner's had a couple of them where there was zero negligence or fault on the carrier's part. Zero. That was determined by law enforcement. And yet the verdict is
they
upheld.
dispatched the truck in the snow.
Yes. Now, let's say that was a brokered load. Again, we're putting this burden on somebody who is so far removed from this, and there was no fault whatsoever by the truck, the carrier, or the driver, but there's still a nuclear verdict.
So
now Werner might be able to survive that, but what if I'm a little, a smaller, medium-sized broker, and I get dragged into this? That'll put me out of business.
So as long as there are defined steps that a broker has to take to vet a carrier, and they have to be very well defined,
perfect,
and they've done their due diligence, and there has to be a list, then they should not be held liable. If there's a list out there and they didn't do their due diligence, or they ignored the safety record of the carrier, they done it but used them anyway, I don't care how big or small they are, their ass needs to swing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But the problem is that's not what's going to happen with this lawsuit. They're just going to determine one way or another, under our current system and going backwards, that the broker could be held liable.
Now, that should never happen.
Exactly.
The going backwards is bullshit. That should never, ever, ever happen. What's done is done. Leave it lay. But going forward, they need to develop that system.
Exactly.
And if they haven't, then it should not be enforced. They need to develop a very specific set of rules that a broker has to follow to vet a carrier. And then, the guys that are out there doing things right, the small carriers that aren't driving 75 mile an hour to make deliveries, and they're actually getting rid of poor drivers, now they become valuable. The people that are doing it right, and so it's not all downside.
As usual, I think all three of us agree on that.
If they pass that, I think I want to invest in those. You know how you can invest in the lawsuits?
Yeah.
If they open that up, they could go to. There's an investment, boy. There's a fertile field.
Speaking of lawsuits,
I think it's wrong that you can invest in a lawsuit.
Oh, that is one of the worst practices ever. That should be outlawed immediately. Yeah, and that is a real thing, and it's a big thing.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
I would agree with that. But
speaking of
lawsuits, a real big thing.
I had a discussion with an attorney, and we have another reason now to bash on hoods.
Okay. Bash on who?
Hoods. Big hoods, lots of chrome. Turns out that they are a liability nightmare, according to attorneys. So many blind spot accidents.
Oh, yeah. I believe.
Yeah.
That is a big thing. That they will actually.
Hey, Kevin. You know how we become the most hated people in podcasting? We're going to outlaw lowrider seats and tall shifters because of the visibility issues. And big drop visors.
Yeah.
and big hoods that block your view.
Armored cars have better visibility than some of those trucks.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Yeah, but that's actually a thing. It is a thing. The blind spots on the classics are a legal issue.
Well, as these camera systems get better and better, I'll bet you we're going to see mandates for cameras and whatnot on trucks just because of what you're talking. And
Joel, it's interesting that the case that I was looking at, there was a dash cam, and the dash cam could see things the driver couldn't, because he was sitting back and down, and the dash cam had a much better field of view, and the dash cam catches the entire accident. The driver didn't even know there was a vehicle there.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. Yeah. I have no doubt that that's probably the case. Yeah, for sure.
What else?
Now that we're the most hated people on podcasting,
let's just get everybody mad day. I want my lobster and steak.
Exactly. Oh, when
give me my Waffle House steak and my Long John Silver's lobster. I'll be happy.
That's about what you're getting. You're right, and they are happy. That's a good news. They don't need the high-end stuff. Just give them a steak and lobster, and they are happy. It's really good for morale. It just shocks me that entire news shows were taken up over Lobster Gate yesterday.
Oh, my God, that is crazy.
The people on the news shows had no clue that this is a long-standing tradition. Nothing new about this at all.
That's not shocking, because just in general, many of them just don't have a clue.
That's true. That's true. Pretty faces that can speak well, like me. Well, maybe
not even
that
pretty face.
There you go. There you go.
That's why I'm on radio. Yeah.
Right. That's like the college show, right?
Yeah. Yeah. On one of those posts, somebody said, well, how often should they be allowed to have steak and lobster? And I said, I've got a pretty darn good rule. For every 20 MREs they're required to eat, they should get steak and lobster.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And I would have no problem with that.
Me either.
You talk about people that are dodging lead, missiles.
Yeah.
Bombs.
They're away from home. They're in a danger zone.
Putting their life on the line.
They're sleeping in tents, or they've been on a ship for months. Yeah.
We will feed prisoners that are on death row their last meal, whatever they want, but we're going to bitch about a cheap piece of lobster and a cheap-ass steak going to people that
the
are
military.
Us?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
Or thinking they should have some cheap chicken hot dogs. I mean, where are we going?
Well, most of the time, the food they get is
set up the hot dog roller.
Most of the time, not in all cases, there are some exceptions, and the Navy's probably better at this than most. Most of the food you're going to eat in the military is garbage. It's junk. It's cheap. It doesn't taste good. It's awful. So to give them a treat once in a while, and we're going to complain about it, come on. Maybe we should improve the food every day.
Hey, anybody that's willing to take a bullet for me so I can do what I want, you can eat lobster. I mean, I will buy you a lobster dinner when I see you. Yes. I mean, come on.
I know.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
So, Angie, do we have a call in the queue? Looks like we do. Start dialing. We'll get to your calls here. 855-950-3835. Hit that call now button. Do you guys remember a couple of years back, I brought up a book, The End of the World is Just the Beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Peter Zeehan. Did you guys read it? Can't remember if you read it. We talked about it or...
I didn't read that.
It was an assignment, I know.
Yeah.
I was listening to a deal last night. I went to bed listening to We Can Make It to Mars, but we can't come back.
Yeah. Elon's working on that, though. And if anybody's going to solve it, it's going to be Elon.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, the guy's an alien. I'm convinced. He's not human. He's an alien. And you know what? We
talked about all those diesel technologies just a minute ago, Joel. I really don't think we need to just write off electric, because I think it could work. And if it improves as much as the cordless drill has.
I'm optimistic about electric as part of the mix going forward. And who knows what'll happen after that.
Yeah.
But it's almost...
It might become the mainstream.
Yeah, it's almost ready for prime time. But... I'll tell you, if anything set it back, it was the government and all the tax subsidies. I think that set us back. I don't think that advanced anything. We got a bunch of... Well, here's something that came out of that. This was pretty shocking to me. Does anybody know what year Honda Motor Corp went public?
Do what?
The Honda. What year did they go public?
Okay.
As a company? I didn't know this till I read
that.
I
don't know.
1950, they went public. Do you know that since 1950, when they went public, they've never had a single loss? They've never had a year where they lost money until now. They just recorded their first loss ever. Do you know what it was? They lost $15 billion on their electric car program.
Yeah.
And that was because it was forced.
Yeah.
They didn't do that by choice. They were forced that they had to produce so many electric vehicles. Just like they weren't even selling Freightliners in Oregon for a while because they were forced to sell a certain number of electric vehicles, except none existed to sell because they were trucks.
And when you get down that way, I mean, there's certain things that are not forced. I don't think we would have cleaned up the emissions as we hadn't it been forced.
I'm not against forcing. I want them to do it right. Like, we have to write better regulations so that we can then enforce them. I am not anti-regulation, not at all. We just screw this up so bad.
one of the problems with writing regulations in regards to emissions and heavy trucks and whatnot are the administration changes, and then the rules and objectives change.
Yeah.
And when you talk to any engineer, they pull their hair out over this shit because they'll design, let's say it's Freightliner or Volvo, they'll put $1 billion into a solution, then there's an election and everything changes.
Yes. No, that's a good point.
So how does a business deal with that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a good point. We went down a rabbit hole again. I had a totally different point when I started talking about that, and now I can't remember what it was. I don't even have any notes in front of me. I don't know where I was going with that. It wasn't about tax subsidies.
And the
or
worst thing is
vehicles.
with the emissions, much like it was back in the 50s or whatever, when they knew emissions was going to be a problem, and the manufacturers went together and said, we're forming a commission to work on this. And the biggest thing they were doing behind the scenes was showing reasons why they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
and they can't really work forward towards doing stuff because the public doesn't want to pay for it. And if it gets out that they could do it and weren't doing it, well, then where's that go? You know, so they're really in a no-win situation on that.
You know, I have said many times that, you know, you can call me a tree hugger all you want. I am. Maybe not in the way some people think of it.
It
but
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I love the environment. I want it to be clean. I am all for vehicle emissions. I wish we would have done it better. We didn't. We finally got through it. We did it with cars and got through it. Now we've done it with trucks and we've got through it. And I am really glad. And I will tell you, one of the biggest challenges I am dealing with right now on the health side with drivers is we've identified. I'd almost like to go find somebody who could pay for a study. Studies are really expensive, but I think this one would be worth it if I could find somebody that would pay for it. I think I've identified some very clear health issues for drivers that people haven't identified before. Yeah, and it wasn't easy. But I do enough of this specifically with drivers, and I'm doing it long enough. We started noticing that drivers had a much, much higher percentage of candida infections than the general population. By far, it's not even close. And it didn't make sense. And these are even drivers eating a really clean, healthy, low-carb diet and solving all kinds of health issues. But then there's these lingering problems that I was struggling to figure out. They've cleaned up their diet. They lost the weight. Their pain's gone. We'd have these weird lingering symptoms. And we couldn't figure it out. And we identified there's some issues with candida. Numbers are off the charts. So if I go to our lab, I did this. I kept seeing our reports coming in. About 80% of ours had candida markers. And I called the lab and I said, this can't be normal. And they said, no, that's way, way out of line. We'll go dig up the numbers for you. Turns out when they looked at all of the tests they had done, this one specific test, their percentage of candida was 14%. Mine's 80. And my people my clients are eating a diet that's low in sugar, and candida feeds on sugar. Nothing about this made sense. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I was going through all the stuff that I did with my accident, they done some stuff with my digestive. I'm pretty sure they told me I had candida.
I could almost guarantee you do. Here's why. The reason the reason we can't get rid of the candida, it's not that it's there. I mean, we could talk about why is it there in the first place. Well, I know why it's there, because we're not able to kill it the way we can with everybody else. I've dealt with candida forever. We know how to fix it. We have some things that kill it. We have some things that bind to it, carry it out of the body. There are things we can do, and they work, except it's not working with drivers. And I went back to the lab and I started asking, other practitioners, what do you think this is? Guess who solved the issue? Guess who figured it out?
I have no idea.
My AI agent, the one that I trained on all this stuff.
Oh.
Put a bunch of stuff together. And then, of course, I went and verified it. I wasn't just going to take AI's word for it, but I went back to practitioners. I said, does this make sense? Yeah, and the more we look, the more it absolutely makes sense. Here's what's happening. Candida specifically is able to build biofilms. So Candida is a living thing, and we're trying to kill it because we don't want it there. Candida, all living things don't want to die. And Candida is able to build what we call a biofilm or a bioshield so that whatever we're trying to use to kill it doesn't work because it's armor plated now. Here's what we've determined. The armor plating is built out of heavy metals. And the heavy metals track back to diesel exhaust and road dust. Rubber dust and brake dust.
Wait a minute.
Now we're going to get on to the...
Kevin, black smoke matters, man. That's all I can say, man. It can't be. Diesel exhaust isn't bad for you. Black smoke matters.
Black smoke does matter. Yes, I agree.
So we need electric trucks on wooden wheels.
Something. You know, we need maglev trucks.
Then breathing in the wooden dust particles, that would be fiber.
Yeah, no, we need maglev electric trucks, and then they could go 300 miles an hour.
Yeah, except then we get magnetic radiation of some type that'll screw with us. You know.
No, that's a good point. But that we actually were able to. So now I'm working on protocols that will be able to go in and break up biofilms that are made out of heavy metal. It can be done.
So if we get too many trucks in one area with your magnetic deal, we could switch the poles.
There you go.
Hey, this is I have an announcement here. John is stuck in a snowstorm in Alberta. That's why he didn't join us today.
He can't be stuck. Come on.
Imagine that.
This is a 6x2. Come on, John.
Hold on. Let me correct it. It doesn't say he's stuck. It says John is in a snowstorm in Alberta and won't be joining us today.
All right.
I added the word stuck.
All right.
Yeah. And on the other hand, next week, the desert Southwest is getting temperatures of like 105. Damn climate change.
Yeah.
It's all that diesel exhaust.
That's crazy.
Oh, John's driving.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's driving.
You know, we used to, which I figured he was. I lost my train. It must be going around today, Kevin.
I was just going to say it must be contagious. Maybe we should go to some calls. Let's grab a call.
It's heavy metal biofilm in the brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Remember when brakes were made out of asbestos?
Yeah, yeah. And Joel, I mean, think about it. What do you have, like 5 million miles on the road?
Yeah,
likewise.
Up right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're way healthier.
Remember when engine brakes were? Remember when engine brakes were a rarity?
Oh yes, remember that. And now, if we want to cut down on that brake dust, let's just get rid of the front brakes. We never needed them before.
That's right.
Well, they're dangerous
back then. They knew that back then, so they just deleted the front brakes so that all that brake stuff didn't come up in the vents of the cab.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, they're just ahead of the time.
Yeah, everybody knows that was dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. Now, all right.
To have front brakes.
Let's grab some calls, or we'll be going down squirrel holes all day. Kevin, morning.
Good morning, guys. You guys were talking about Joel was saying, well, we need to vet them because we'll know that they'll brokers, they'll throw that load on another truck and save 10 cents a mile. Well, there's no way really for them to vet them. I mean, I might be going home and that load might be delivered in Rutherford and I'm an hour from home and I'm in South Carolina. Yeah, I'm going to underbid that load because I want to get home at a cheaper rate instead of deadhead 200 or 300 miles and make 10 cents more a mile. It's still
not
coming
based
out all in
on
the
the.
wash.
No. It's not based on the speed itself. We're talking about basing it on their safety record, where they would look at their DOT number and they'd bring up their safety record and look at them historically. Are they involved in crashes? You know, where do they stand? How many fatalities? How many out of services? You can bring anybody up on Safer System right now, put in their DOT number, and you can see all that information. And that's what you would be looking at to get an idea. Now, exactly, how we would put that together, I'm not exactly sure, but I am sure with all the information they collect and the databases that they have, making sure that the driver's got their current physical is up to date, making sure that, they haven't had 25 wrecks in the last 2 years or 15 fatalities in a fleet of 20 trucks, so, stuff like that, which they currently don't do. And making sure that they even have insurance and that type of stuff. I guess they do that right now in the packet that they send over.
There is a new problem with insurance. The insurance company used to vet.
There's all kinds of problems, yeah.
Yeah, the insurance companies used to vet the carriers pretty well, but they figured out that they can make more money if they don't vet anybody. You can just go online now with companies like Progressive, and there's several of them, and you just fill out a form online and you've got insurance. Nobody even knows how many trucks. People with 100 trucks are insuring 10 at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep hearing the whole thing with Progressive and going online and doing it. I haven't figured out how to do it. I mean, I pay too much for insurance as it is, and I hear it that it's happening, but I'm not quite sure how people are getting that done.
Maybe I'll have David Owen join us, because David does a lot of insurance, and he was the one that helped me understand a lot of this. And there's been a big change in these companies just not doing much vetting at all anymore, just issuing insurance. And we do know that these crazy. There's another change. Some people I follow, they're saying, look, chameleon carrier, we should just drop that term. That chameleon carrier really refers to what's been going on forever, which is one company gets some authority. They actually have trucks. They're legitimate, but they end up with a lousy record. They have a poor inspection record. Maybe they have a couple too many accidents. They shut down that MC number and start another one and keep in business. That's what we're used to.
Right.
That's not, now they said we should start calling these chameleon networks. Hundreds of trucks, multiple companies, dozens or hundreds of companies with the same address. This is very, very well organized and orchestrated. This is a whole new ballgame now. And it was the FMCSA that allowed this to happen. That's why I say we got to fix them first.
That's what my whole point was about the broker vetting. It should fall back on the FMCSA, because they're supposed to be, they're the ones allowing people to have this carrier. And we all know that the majority of the carriers out here are one truck or two trucks, but it still has to go back on someone's CDL. I know whenever I was thinking about filing, that's the first thing they wanted was your driver's license, your accident record, and blah, blah, blah.
Well,
and then going back to
the CDL's worthless now too, though. You can ask for a CDL all you want. That doesn't mean exactly. That doesn't
like chiclet.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and then the rest of us have been busting our ass for 25 years to try to keep.
So here's I think the overarching point that this makes, and Kevin and I know that I'll get beat up for saying this, but we have got a ton of people that say the government's worthless, the government doesn't do anything right, the government's basically just stands in the way of progress. Well, when you have a true free market, sometimes it's a race to the bottom. And in transportation and logistics, there's no truer word spoken. When there's no regulation, it is a friggin' race to the bottom. It's cutthroat. It is horrible, and it's bad for safety.
And that's
it just is.
That's not just trucking. You're right. True free markets.
That's everything.
A free market is not perfect. It's not even close, because you're right. Human greed will destroy that if you allow it. So there has to be a blend. But the most broken part of the system is the government part right now. We got to fix that. We got to get better.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, we got to get better at this.
It has gotten horrible.
Yeah,
but we can look back. We can look back a couple decades ago, and everybody bitched that the government was too strict in trucking. Oh, we get inspected all the time, and they're checking our logbooks all the time, and they're too tough. So we've gone just the opposite now. Now we're too lax.
Yes.
And now we see what happens when we're too lax.
Well, here's another example, and this one was so simple. This one should have never happened. We went to an ELD to stop cheating. Forget everything else. That was the reason we went to an ELD, to stop people from cheating, because it was too easy to cheat on a logbook, and we all did it. I don't know that there's been a driver in the history of the U.S. that didn't cheat his logbook. I bet there's not one.
Right.
I'm positive of it. So we have a better idea. Yeah. Let's make it electronic. Except we're just going to let you self-certify your own so it can cheat better than you ever could.
Right.
What a stupid mistake.
Right. Now it's now it's high-tech cheating. You're exactly right.
That was so I guess easy to avoid. We could have easily avoided this.
Even if you don't self-certify it, you can still cheat your log. You just stay under 5 miles an hour.
Well, that's not practical.
We do it all the time.
You're not.
That's not
make
practical.
It too far.
Right. And we could argue
if I'm loading and I get my 2-hour break and I extend my day for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then absolutely.
Look, you're not
going to go down the road too far at 5 miles an hour for 2 hours without the police coming to see.
No, I'm talking about loading or unloading.
Yeah,
I pull a hopper a long line. So instead of eating up my on-duty time, and I can get my 2-hour or 3-hour break sometimes. Now I'm working 17 and 17, and I don't agree with that at all. I'm about done with it.
If we identified that was a problem, we could fix that.
I thought,
as a friend of mine put it,
0.
ELDs did not eliminate cheating; they cut down the amount of cheating that was possible.
Exactly, and you can't go down the road. I mean, but my main thing was it's the FMCSA, but no one holds the government accountable. We can't take up arms and say, you know what, we're about tired of it. They've made sure that they couldn't, that the people couldn't rise up. Back in George Washington's day, you got your ass fucked if you did something too bad. You know what I mean?
I know, Kevin, they could make they could make a perfect ELD, but that would be an ankle bracelet.
Yeah, well,
exactly, and they're trying to be a little limited on what we can do because they want to give us a little flexibility. You can see that in the.
Hold on, because I know this is not a popular opinion, but this has always been my opinion. We have hours of service. It's a regulation. It's written and it's a law that we are a country of laws, whether you like them or not. This is where we need to focus. Fix the hours of service. Don't say, here are the rules, but we want to give you a little fudge room. Hell no. The rules are the rules. Make them enforceable.
Yeah. Clear lines are easy to deal with.
Yes.
Of course they are, but there is so much gray area in what we do.
No, there isn't.
Possibly, if you followed the law to the letter,
you know what would happen?
Especially in the hopper box. What would happen is you would starve to death because.
No, just the opposite.
Exactly.
Just the opposite.
No, Kevin, you're wrong on this.
If you followed it to the letter of the law, everybody's time becomes more valuable.
That I agree with 100%.
The gray area we have, the faster we go broke, and we shoot ourselves in the foot constantly with that mindset. We need flexibility to get the job done. No, we don't.
You want to
No
see
flexibility, and then our time becomes valuable.
You want to see rates go through the roof?
Yeah.
Enforce the letter of the law on hours of service and drive 55. Watch the rates go crazy.
Yes.
And make your maximum duty cycle 8 hours.
Kevin, here's the problem. In this industry,
we live comfortably.
We have been so brainwashed to cheat. And we cheat because everybody else cheats and gets away with it. So now we have to just to be competitive. Well, you don't absolutely have to, but that is the trend.
We cheat, but we cheat because we're trying to feed our families, and we get paid by the mile.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
About paying with, and that's what I have so much respect about Walmart. Everybody says, "Oh, Walmart, Walmart." I said, "I'm going to tell you something about Walmart. I got a buddy that works there. They pay them people for every single that they do."
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, they treat their drivers like gold.
Not making $50.
Hi, I'm Kevin Rutherford. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, or leave a comment below. It really helps us get the show out to more people. If you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, you can sign up with the link below.